Maycon always dreamed big. As a kid, he would watch action movies with stars like Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, mimicking their moves in front of the TV. His imagination was limitless, and his aspirations even more so. He wanted to be a world-famous action star, performing breathtaking stunts and captivating audiences with his daring feats. But dreams, as Maycon would learn, often come with their own set of challenges. He worked tirelessly, taking on any job that could bring him closer to his goal. As a stunt double, he earned a reputation for his fearlessness and skill. Yet, the limelight he craved always seemed just out of reach. The harsh reality of the film industry meant that Maycon's name was seldom in the credits, and recognition was rare. On top of his professional struggles, life handed him another curveball. When his sister passed away unexpectedly, Maycon became the guardian of his young nephew, Lucas. Overnight, his life transformed from one of single-minded ambition to a delicate balancing act. Lucas was a bright, energetic boy who adored his uncle and looked up to him as a hero. But raising a child was no small feat, especially for someone chasing such an elusive dream. Maycon found himself juggling stunt work with school runs, late-night rehearsals with homework help. His apartment, once a sparse bachelor pad, now bustled with the sounds of laughter, playful arguments, and bedtime stories. Every decision he made was weighed against the impact it would have on Lucas. The dream of fame and glory now had a new layer, the responsibility of being a father figure. Despite the challenges, Maycon's resolve never wavered. He trained harder, took riskier stunts, and pushed himself beyond his limits. He wanted Lucas to see that dreams were worth fighting for, no matter the obstacles. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, turning their small, cluttered apartment into a sanctuary of shared hopes and unwavering support. Little did Maycon know that this delicate balance was about to be shattered in the most unimaginable way, setting him on a path that would test the very core of his being. The day started like any other. The sun was shining, and Lucas was buzzing with excitement. His school was taking a trip, a rare opportunity for the kids to fly to a neighboring city and visit a renowned science museum. Maycon, despite his usual morning rush, made sure to see Lucas off. They shared a quick breakfast, and Maycon ruffled Lucas's hair as he reminded him to be careful and have fun. At the airport, the energy was electric. Children chattered eagerly, and parents exchanged smiles and waves. Maycon watched as Lucas boarded the plane, giving him a thumbs up and mouthing, "I love you," as the boy found his seat. For a moment, Maycon felt a pang of worry, but he brushed it off. This was a routine trip, perfectly safe. He needed to focus on his next stunt, another chance to edge closer to his dreams. Hours passed, and Maycon was deep into his training when he heard the news. A plane had gone down. The shockwave of the announcement hit him like a physical blow. He dropped everything and rushed to find out more, hoping, praying that it wasn't Lucas's flight. But as the details emerged, his worst fears were confirmed. The world seemed to stop as Maycon's heart shattered. The flight that was supposed to be a thrilling adventure for Lucas had ended in catastrophe. There were no survivors. The weight of the loss was unbearable, crushing every part of him. Lucas, his bright, joyful nephew, was gone. The dream he had fought so hard for suddenly felt meaningless. Nothing mattered anymore. In the days that followed, Maycon was engulfed in a fog of grief. He went through the motions, attending the memorial service, accepting the hollow condolences of friends and strangers. Every corner of his apartment was a painful reminder of the boy who had brought so much light into his life. The silence was deafening. As he sifted through Lucas's belongings, Maycon found a small notebook. Inside were drawings and notes, little pieces of Lucas's world. One entry stood out. It was a list of things Lucas wanted to do when he grew up. Among the scribbles, Maycon saw a familiar dream. Be like Uncle Maycon, brave and strong. The words pierced through his sorrow, igniting a spark of resolve. Maycon couldn't let Lucas's death be in vain. As he delved deeper into the details of the crash, something felt off. The official reports were too tidy, the explanations too convenient. Driven by a newfound purpose, Maycon vowed to uncover the truth behind the tragedy. His journey for justice had begun, and it would lead him down a dark path he never imagined, one that would ultimately change everything. Maycon's life became a blur of sorrow and anger. Each day was a struggle, the weight of Lucas's absence suffocating him. He barely ate, barely slept, his mind consumed by memories of his nephew and the gnawing sense that something was deeply wrong about the crash. The official narrative didn't sit right with him. It felt incomplete, almost fabricated. Driven by a relentless need for answers, Maycon began his own investigation. He pored over news reports, scoured online forums, and connected with other grieving families. The more he dug, the more inconsistencies he found. Witnesses described seeing unusual activity around the airport on the day of the flight, and there were whispers of a cover-up. A growing number of people believed the crash wasn't an accident. One late night, Maycon stumbled upon a lead that would change everything. An anonymous source reached out, claiming to have information about the crash. They arranged to meet in a secluded part of the city. The meeting was tense, filled with shadowy corners and whispered words. The source revealed that the plane crash was part of a much larger scheme involving a powerful corporation with a vested interest in the flight's failure. As Maycon delved deeper, he uncovered a labyrinth of corruption and deceit. The corporation, it seemed, was involved in illegal activities, including arms dealing and political bribery. The plane crash was orchestrated to eliminate a whistleblower on board who was about to expose their operations. Lucas and the other passengers were collateral damage in a ruthless bid to protect their secrets. The discovery was both a revelation and a torment. Maycon's grief transformed into a burning need for justice. He couldn't bring Lucas back, but he could make sure those responsible paid for their crimes. It was during this period of intense investigation that he crossed paths with Beatriz, a determined detective who had been following the same trail of breadcrumbs. Beatriz was sharp, intuitive, and driven by her own quest for the truth. She had been investigating the corporation for months, suspecting their involvement in various criminal activities, but lacking concrete evidence. The crash had piqued her suspicions further, but she needed a break in the case. Meeting Maycon was that break. Initially wary of each other, Maycon and Beatriz soon realized they had a common enemy and a shared desire for justice. They decided to join forces, pooling their resources and knowledge. Together, they unraveled more of the conspiracy, uncovering layers of corruption that ran deeper than they had imagined. The partnership was more than just professional. Amidst the danger and tension, Maycon found solace in Beatriz's unwavering support, and she found strength in his relentless determination. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day as they navigated the treacherous path of their investigation, inching closer to exposing the truth. Their journey was fraught with peril, but the shared goal and emerging affection for each other kept them going. Maycon's grief had found a new outlet, a mission to honor Lucas's memory by bringing justice to those responsible for the tragedy. The stakes were high, and the danger was real, but Maycon and Beatriz were determined to see it through, no matter the cost. Maycon's relentless quest for answers led him to a small, dimly lit bar on the outskirts of the city. It was here that he was to meet Beatriz, a name that had repeatedly surfaced during his investigation. She was said to be a detective with a reputation for uncovering the truth, no matter how deeply it was buried. When Maycon entered, he scanned the room and spotted her immediately. Beatriz sat in a corner booth, her eyes sharp and alert, radiating a mix of confidence and determination. She was sipping a cup of coffee, her expression focused. As he approached, she looked up, their eyes locking in a moment of mutual understanding. "Maycon, I presume," she said, extending a hand. Her grip was firm, her gaze unwavering. "Beatriz," he replied, sliding into the seat opposite her. The air between them was thick with unspoken questions and shared purpose. Their conversation started cautiously, each testing the waters, feeling out the other's intentions. Maycon shared his findings, the painstakingly gathered evidence that pointed to a massive conspiracy. Beatriz listened intently, occasionally nodding, her own suspicions confirmed by his words. "I've been following this trail for months," Beatriz said, her voice low but steady. "The corporation's reach is extensive, their influence pervasive. The plane crash was just one piece of a much larger puzzle." Maycon leaned in, his heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and anger. "Lucas was everything to me. I can't let this go." I need to see them brought to justice." Beatriz's eyes softened slightly, a flicker of empathy breaking through her professional demeanor. "I understand. We both want the same thing. They think they're untouchable, but they're wrong. Together, we can bring them down." From that moment, an unspoken pact was formed. Maycon and Beatriz combined their resources, their investigations merging into a single, cohesive effort. Their partnership was a blend of his raw determination and her methodical approach. They worked tirelessly, often late into the night, piecing together clues and unraveling the web of deceit. Their first major breakthrough came when they discovered a key witness, a former employee of the corporation willing to testify about the illegal activities and the orchestrated crash. It was a risky move, but Maycon and Beatriz were ready to protect the witness at all costs. The information he provided was damning, offering a clear path to the higher-ups who had orchestrated the conspiracy. Amidst the chaos of their investigation, a bond began to form. Maycon found solace in Beatriz's unwavering support, her strength a beacon in his darkest moments. Beatriz, in turn, was drawn to Maycon's fierce dedication and the depth of his resolve. Their late-night strategy sessions turned into moments of genuine connection, each finding in the other a partner they could trust implicitly. As they delved deeper into the conspiracy, their lives became increasingly intertwined. They faced threats and obstacles, but their combined skills and growing affection for each other kept them going. The lines between professional and personal blurred, and what started as a partnership of necessity evolved into something neither had anticipated. Together, Maycon and Beatriz were a force to be reckoned with, their shared goal binding them closer each day. The path ahead was perilous, but they were ready to face it, side by side, driven by the desire for justice and the burgeoning love that had begun to blossom between them. The deeper Maycon and Beatriz dug into the conspiracy, the more dangerous their quest became. They quickly realized that the corporation had eyes and ears everywhere. Their phones were tapped, their movements monitored. It was a game of cat and mouse, with the stakes growing higher each day. Their first major lead came from the whistleblower who had narrowly escaped the plane crash. He provided crucial documents that outlined the corporation's illicit activities. The files were a goldmine, detailing everything from financial transactions to covert operations. Maycon and Beatriz pored over the information, connecting the dots and piecing together the larger picture. One night, while reviewing the documents in a safe house, they stumbled upon something that made their blood run cold. The files included a list of names, key players in the conspiracy, as well as potential targets. To their horror, they saw their own names on the list, marked for elimination. "This just got a lot more personal," Beatriz said, her voice tense but resolute. Maycon nodded, his jaw clenched. "We need to be more careful. They're not going to let us expose them without a fight." Their next move was to confront one of the mid-level operatives mentioned in the files. It was a risky proposition, but they had no choice. The meeting took place in a deserted warehouse on the outskirts of the city. They arrived early, scouting the location and planning their approach. When the operative finally showed up, flanked by two bodyguards, the tension was palpable. Beatriz stepped forward, her badge glinting under the dim light. "We know what you've been up to. It's over." The operative smirked, clearly unfazed. "You think you can stop us? You have no idea what you're dealing with." Before they could react, a shootout erupted. Maycon and Beatriz ducked behind cover, returning fire with precision. The air was thick with smoke and the deafening sound of gunshots. It was a fierce battle, but their training and determination saw them through. When the dust settled, the operative was in custody, and his bodyguards were incapacitated. Interrogating the operative was no easy task. He was defiant, confident in his belief that the corporation's reach would protect him. But Maycon and Beatriz were relentless. Piece by piece, they broke him down, extracting valuable information that led them to the higher echelons of the conspiracy. As the investigation progressed, the threats escalated. They were tailed by shadowy figures, their apartments ransacked in their absence. Yet, their resolve only grew stronger. Every attempt to intimidate them was met with renewed determination. They were fighting not just for justice, but for Lucas and all the innocent lives lost. One particularly harrowing night, Beatriz's car was tampered with. resulting in a near-fatal accident. She survived with minor injuries, but the message was clear. The corporation was getting desperate. In the hospital, Maycon stayed by her side, his heart heavy with guilt and fear. "You should have someone else," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. "I can't bear the thought of losing you too." Beatriz reached out, her hand gripping his tightly. "We're in this together, Maycon. They can't scare us into stopping." Their bond deepened with each passing day, forged in the crucible of danger and shared purpose. The investigation had become more than a mission. It was a testament to their resilience and their growing love for each other. As they closed in on the masterminds behind the conspiracy, the risks intensified. But Maycon and Beatriz were ready to face whatever came their way, united by their quest for justice and the unbreakable bond that had formed between them. The whirlwind of their investigation had thrown Maycon and Beatriz together in ways neither of them had anticipated. Amidst the danger and uncertainty, they found solace in each other's company. Their partnership, initially forged out of necessity, began to evolve into something deeper and more profound. Late one evening, after a particularly grueling day of tracking leads and evading threats, Maycon and Beatriz found themselves alone in their safe house. The room was dimly lit, the silence broken only by the occasional rustle of papers and the soft hum of city life outside. Exhausted, they sat together on the worn-out couch, the weight of their mission pressing down on them. Beatriz glanced at Maycon, her eyes reflecting a mixture of determination and vulnerability. "I never imagined it would be like this," she said softly. "Every day, we're fighting just to stay ahead, to stay alive." Maycon nodded, his gaze fixed on the floor. "I know, but we're getting closer. We're making progress. For Lucas, and for everyone else who's suffered because of them." She reached out, her hand resting gently on his. "It's more than that, Maycon. You've given me hope, strength. I don't know if I could do this without you." He looked up, meeting her gaze. In her eyes, he saw a reflection of his own struggles, fears, and the flicker of something more. A connection that had grown stronger with each passing day. "You've been my anchor, Beatriz. I was lost after Lucas, but you've helped me find my way." The distance between them seemed to vanish. Maycon could feel the warmth of her hand, the steadiness of her presence. In that moment, the chaos and danger of their world faded, leaving just the two of them, bound by a shared mission and an unspoken bond. Their first kiss was tentative, a gentle meeting of lips that conveyed more than words ever could. It was a promise of support, of understanding, and of love that had blossomed amidst the turmoil. The kiss deepened, fueled by the intensity of their emotions and the undeniable chemistry that had been building between them. From that night on, their relationship became an anchor in the storm. They found moments of peace and joy in each other's arms, a sanctuary away from the relentless pursuit of justice. Their love gave them strength, fortifying their resolve to see their mission through to the end. Even in the midst of their most perilous moments, Maycon and Beatriz shared stolen glances, brief touches, and whispered words of encouragement. Their connection was a beacon of light in the darkness, reminding them of what they were fighting for. Not just revenge or justice, but a future where they could be together, free from the shadows that sought to consume them. One night, as they lay side by side, Beatriz traced a finger along Maycon's jawline. "We'll get through this," she murmured. "And when we do, I want to build a life with you. A real life, away from all of this." Maycon smiled, his heart swelling with love and hope. "I want that too, Beatriz. More than anything." Their love story was not without its challenges. The dangers they faced were real, and the risks ever-present. But with each passing day, their bond grew stronger, a testament to their resilience and their unwavering commitment to each other. As they prepared for the final showdown with the conspirators, Maycon and Beatriz knew they were not just fighting for justice. They were fighting for a future together, a chance to build a life filled with love, happiness, and the promise of new beginnings. The final act of Maycon and Beatriz's journey was set in motion. The evidence they had gathered pointed to a high-profile charity gala, hosted by the corporation's CEO. It was the perfect cover for their illicit dealings, and Maycon and Beatriz knew it was their best chance to expose the truth and bring the culprits to justice. The night of the gala, the atmosphere was electric. The city's elite mingled in an opulent ballroom, unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface. Maycon, dressed in a sleek tuxedo, and Beatriz, stunning in a midnight blue gown, blended seamlessly with the crowd. Beneath their calm exteriors, their hearts raced with anticipation and resolve. They had a plan. Beatriz would hack into the gala's security system to broadcast their collected evidence, while Maycon confronted the CEO, Richard Langford, a man who epitomized the corruption they were fighting against. As the clock ticked closer to midnight, the tension in the air was palpable. Beatriz slipped away to the security room, her fingers dancing over the keyboard as she bypassed firewalls and encrypted codes. Meanwhile, Maycon navigated through the throngs of guests, his eyes locked on Langford, who stood surrounded by his sycophants. Finally, the moment arrived. Beatriz's voice crackled through Maycon's earpiece. "I'm in. Ready when you are." Taking a deep breath, Maycon approached Langford, his voice steady but laced with fury. "We need to talk, Langford." Langford turned, a smirk playing on his lips. "Maycon, isn't it? You're out of your depth." Maycon's eyes blazed. "You have no idea what I'm capable of. Tonight, everyone will know the truth about you." As if on cue, the large screens around the ballroom flickered to life, displaying a series of documents, videos, and recorded conversations. The guests gasped, the room erupting into chaos as the evidence of Langford's crimes played out before their eyes. Langford's confident facade crumbled. He lunged at Maycon, but years of stunt training had honed Maycon's reflexes. He dodged the attack and swiftly subdued Langford, pinning him to the ground. "This is for Lucas," he whispered fiercely. Security swarmed, but not before the damage was done. The gala's attendees, including influential politicians and media figures, had seen enough. Langford and his associates were quickly taken into custody, their empire of deceit unraveling in real time. Beatriz joined Maycon, her eyes shining with triumph and relief. "We did it," she breathed, wrapping her arms around him. The aftermath was a whirlwind. Langford and his co-conspirators faced public disgrace and legal retribution. The media frenzy that followed ensured their story reached far and wide, a cautionary tale of greed and corruption brought to justice by two unlikely heroes. But the greatest twist was yet to come. As the dust settled, Maycon and Beatriz received a message from an anonymous source, the same one who had initially tipped them off. The message contained new evidence, suggesting that Langford was just a pawn in a larger, more insidious game. Maycon and Beatriz exchanged a look, a mixture of disbelief and determination. Their fight was far from over, but they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. Together, they had proven that they could topple giants and bring light to the darkest of conspiracies. Hand in hand, they stepped into the unknown, their bond unbreakable, their resolve unwavering. The journey had transformed them, forging a love and partnership that would withstand any challenge. And as they moved forward, they knew that justice was not a destination, but a journey. One they would walk together, no matter where it led.